morning to everyone, and happy Easter. It's truly a true joy to have you all here this morning. It always just, again, fills my heart to see the church so full on these wonderful celebrations. It really, though, it just kind of leaves me with one question. Why are you here? What you doing here? Father, it's Easter, don't you know that? I'm aware, thank you. I checked my calendar. But no, it's like, well, Father, I got a cute dress. We're going to take some Easter pictures. We heard something about some Easter eggs, and don't worry, Father, it makes sense because there's a bunny. It all makes sense. So, okay, that's what you're going to do. That's what you did. That's what the plan is. I know the plan. Like, I get the what. I'm asking why. Why are you here? The question is, does today really matter? Or is it just another holiday? It's a good excuse to eat a lot of food, to pretend like I'm not following that diet. It's like, we all know, it's another cheat day for you. Okay, great, it's a beautiful day for eating, for family, beautiful. Well, and then you go, Father, we're not idiots. It's the day Jesus rose from the dead. Again, I'm aware. I know that one too. I know these things. The question is why. Now, this is not like the accusatory why are you here. It's the question of it's hard to think, it's hard to self-reflect, so we're going to ask some bigger questions, and it's hard to think. I know it's hard to think, but we're going to think a little harder. Why am I here? The question is, do we believe this? Do we believe that this changes anything about my life, about your life? Do we believe that Jesus rising from the dead, whatever that means, do we believe that this really affects us? Do we believe that it really touches our life? Do we believe that it has any real effect on me? Or is it just a nice excuse to eat some extra food and, again, those beautiful eggs? Is that what it is? I know there's a lot of blank looks. I get it. Okay, how about this one? Let's say aliens land. Aliens. Good. People are focusing again. Aliens land. And all of a sudden the aliens hop out of their little spaceship and they go, what are y'all doing here? Who's the guy with the beard? Then one of you would pipe up and be like, oh, that's Jesus. He's from Nazareth. And they'd go, okay, what did he do that was so great? And we go, well, what he did that was so great was that he taught us to be nice to each other. And they go like, that's it? Wait, he died and then he rose from the dead. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Why do you do that? What's going on there? Because he wants us to be nice to each other. It's like, oh my goodness. Like, I get that. I hope that sounds ridiculous to you, because it sounds ridiculous to me. And yet, many of us say it. And when we get put on the spot, why is Jesus so important? Our default answer is, he just really wants us to be nice. That's just kind of what we fall back on. And then we say, well, we better get dressed up, go get some eggs, and then, there we go, Easter Sunday. If that's what you think this is, then you are right. This is ridiculous. I'm in agreement with you. This is a ridiculous thing to do. It's a ridiculous thing to show up on Sunday mornings at all. So the question is, well, then why are we here? What is it that draws us here? What's the big why behind all of this? Because maybe some of us aren't really even aware why we're here. Maybe some of us don't look at your spouse right now. Maybe some of us got dragged here by someone that we love dearly. And we're just like, I'm just doing it because they want me here, Father. Okay? Some of us, we don't get it because Sunday and the church thing, it's kind of boring. I have a great life, Father, and this is kind of a buzzkill. Like, I just don't need this. Church, like if some people need you to tell them to be nice to each other every Sunday morning, that's nice for them. I'm a nice person, Father. I don't need you to tell me to be nice. And I agree. Again, I don't need to stand up here and tell you to be nice to each other. Mr. Rogers can do that. Like, we don't need to come to church for that. I'm very aware. But here's the key. So if you're wondering why you feel that, or if you're wondering why your spouse feels that, or your friends feel that, or your family members feel that, let me give you a key for what is going on here and why this is actually a little bit more important than be nice. The key is this. The resurrection, this thing that we're celebrating today, the resurrection, it doesn't matter unless you need it to matter. The resurrection does not matter unless you are deeply, personally, and painfully aware that it needs to matter. If you're over 7 years old, so a bunch of us, okay? So if you're over 7 years old, typically, each one of us have had a lot of life experiences that we've dealt with, that we've not dealt with, that we've talked about, that we've not talked about, that we've thought through, that we've not thought through so much. But each one of us is left with these big questions in life. Questions that need some really deep answers. But if we're honest with ourselves, how many of us have taken the time to really dig into those deeper questions? It's hard. Why? Father, I got a job. Father, I got kids. I don't know if you've ever had kids. I haven't, so I don't know. But Father, kids are a lot of work. They take a lot of time and energy and attention. I know. I'm aware of that. So I get it. We're busy, very busy. But we've all had experiences a lot of experiences we work so hard at our job. We achieve a lot. Maybe we've even accomplished all of those goals that we've set out to accomplish in our life. And yet, we have this feeling of, is that it? Is this really why I work so hard? This seems kind of anticlimactic. Some of us have had that experience where we wake up next to the person that we love so much in the world. Our kids are asleep in the house. We have a cute little dog somewhere running around, or 7. And yet, we feel painfully alone. And we think, is this all there is? Some of us have had that experience where someone we love is diagnosed with a terrible disease. Someone goes through terrible illness, perhaps even dies. And we're left with that question of, well, why do bad things keep happening to good people? These are those big questions. These are those huge questions in our life. But what do we do instead of digging into those questions? Oftentimes, we just get a little cynical, get a little jaded, and we say, well, that's stupid. And we go work again, go take care of our kids again, just move on with life. Pretend like those questions aren't even there. We just start going in circles. So why are you here this morning? Why are you here? If you want another secret, lots of secrets today. If you want another secret of why a lot of people are here this morning, a lot of people are here because something happened to them. They encountered someone. They met someone. And this person gave their life an entirely new horizon, a completely different direction. And because that something happened, it charged their life with a difference, with a newness of life, a hope. There's a desire that there could be something more, that things, not only could they change, but that things actually have changed. That the world is a completely different place now, even though it may not look like it. Have you ever asked, we read this gospel today, the disciples running to the tomb. Why were they running so hard? Why did they show up that morning? Peter and John just heard about Easter eggs maybe in that tomb, and they're like, gonna get them first, gotta get them. Doubt it. No, this woman shows up and tells them the body's not there. We saw an angel. Other gospel accounts tell us, we saw an angel, and the angel told us he's not here. He's been raised. And so they take off. It's a simple proposal, but they take off running. Why? Because they're like, hey, it's Sunday morning. We better go run and tell people to be nice. No, with this simple proposal, they're then ready to go and die. I don't know if you've ever read a history book. These guys literally go out into the world telling people he's not dead. He rose from the dead. And people are like, no. And they eventually kill them. They go to their deaths over this simple message. He's risen. Why? Why? Why would they do that? Why was this such a life-changing event? Why did this change everything in their life? And it seems so simple. But all that it is that something new had finally happened. Something completely unexpected, something that they could never find anywhere else had finally happened. I don't know, I know that you know this, but just so we all get reviewed real quick, every person that has ever come into this world has had a pretty predictable story. They get born. There's a lot of variables there in the middle. Tall, short, rich, poor, Africa, Asia, Europe, location, those sorts of things. But then it all comes to the same end. Same story every time. Nobody gets out alive. We're all dead. Tale as old as time. But while people used to take that very seriously, we don't. We get very cold about it. We're just like, yeah, Father, facts of life. People die. Get over it. But no, people would be very, very seriously provoked by this because they recognize that's very unfair. And if I'm just going to die in the end anyway, if I'm just going to be rotting in the ground one day over at Lyons Municipal Cemetery, if I'm just some cosmic accident, if my life has really no meaning past the few decades that I'm going to be alive, well, why keep going? What's the point? The resurrection, like I said, it doesn't matter until we start recognizing and until we start realizing it needs to matter. And it does matter. And it's the most serious thing that matters. When we start asking those bigger questions like, why am I here? Not just here this morning, but why am I here at all? Why do I exist? Why am I here? Where's my life going? How am I supposed to get there? When we start asking those big questions, okay, all of a sudden the announcement, this man died but he rose, well, it becomes the announcement that life maybe life can be different. Maybe the world is different than the way I typically see it. For many of us, we've been on this journey called Rerouting for the past 12 weeks, and everything has really led to this proposal that he's not here, he's been raised. But that's the announcement that changes everything. The early Christians, they would go around with a simple greeting for one another. I won't tell it to you in Greek. In English, it is the Christians would greet one another, Christ has risen. And then the response would be, he is risen indeed. Christ has risen. He is risen indeed. Was that the Christians just telling each other, hey, Jesus rose from the dead? That's pretty cool, right? No, the Christians were saying, Christ has risen, as in, holy smokies, the world is now different. Something has happened. The world doesn't look like what it looks like. I know a lot of people look at it that way, but we can't look at it that way anymore. Everyone else thinks we're just going to be dead one day. We know that's not true. There's something different. Christ has risen. The world is a different place. Okay. This just gets us back to it time and time again. Why are we here? Why do we keep coming to this? Why do people keep showing up to our doors? It seems so simple, but it's because there's something here that the world cannot offer us. No matter how hard you work, no matter how many cool things that you accomplish in life, no matter how great it is, there's something here that the world cannot offer. There's an access to a newness of life, to a newness that nothing else can give you. We're here because if we're honest with ourselves, we know that Christ can give us something that no one else can. With Christ, our life is headed in an entirely new direction. Everything has changed. This is the event that has changed everything. If aliens land, please stop telling them that we're here to be nice. Please tell them this man died so that we might live. This man died, but he rose, and everything is now different. This is the event that changes everything. And so my long-winded, simple way of getting to this one simple point for today. 2 words. Here's your Easter message for the day. Let it. Profound, I know. Let it. Let it change your life. Let it change everything in your life. I left the baptismal font up here because last night we had 8 people baptized into the faith. 6 other people, joined the Catholic Church. 14 people decided this event has changed my life. I have to let it continue to change my life. We don't just show up here to be nice. And when we walk out the door, please, okay, kids, the kids aren't listening, good. There's eggs, don't worry, there's eggs. But when we walk out the door, the first thing you say, please don't let it be, where them eggs at? When you walk out the door, let this event continue to change your life. Look at things in a new way. Look at everything in a new way. The world is different. It's a completely different place now. Walk out of here with that simple spark that's kindled that says, this man, well, maybe, just maybe he can change my life as well. Maybe things can be different. Maybe things are different. And if that sounds really abstract, that's okay, because that's why we exist. That's why the church exists. The church exists, the parish exists to offer everyone in the community this life-changing encounter with Christ, but then to accompany people on that journey, to walk with one another, to help each other to continue to live this way. For those of us that have given our lives to Christ and surrendered our lives to Christ in a new and entirely new way this Easter, right, we're called to be that light to one another within our community. I don't know if you've ever looked around Lyons, if you've ever looked around Sterling. Even in Sterling, we're just sneaking in. Don't tell them down there. Right? We have people that are in every part of this community. Literally anywhere you go, you're going to run into a Catholic. Anywhere you go. We're called to be this light that people can look at and be like, something's different. Why do you look at the world differently? Why do you not see things the way that I see them? Why do you have a different hope in your life? Why are things so different for you? And we can simply tell them, maybe not like literally, because then they'll just be like, oh, right, weirdo. But we can tell them, he is risen. Everything's changed. The world's different now. It has to be different now. Christ is risen. He's risen indeed. And so our call is to not be afraid to follow after him, to give our lives to him. He's risen, which means he's alive, which means he's present, which means that he can change you. And so Christ is risen. It's not just a nice thing to say today. It's this phrase that changes and reminds us that everything in this world has changed. This is the announcement. This is why we are here. This is why we exist. We're here because everything is now different. It's all changed. And through Christ, everything, my life, your life, everything is being made new.